Welcome. In front of me I have the brand new iPhone 16e, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, and just my general opinion on this device. So anyway, let's get straight into it. Oh, come on, Apple. Okay. So, here we have the device right at the front. Let's boot it up. Now, we also have the Type-C to Type-C cable for charging, and paperwork, and that's about it. There is not even a SIM eject tool anymore. Okay. All in the name of profit, I guess. So, here is our egregiously overpriced device. And let's just start going down the list of different specifications. So, I'm going to start off with the screen. So, this device has a 6.1-inch display, which is on a smaller side. It is a OLED display, if I remember correctly, if I can actually find my mouse. There we go. Super Retina XDR OLED display with HDR10 and a peak brightness of 1200 nits. Surprisingly enough, it doesn't have HDR10 Plus. I guess for a $600 device, it was too hard to get the certification. Anyway, we have 87.1% screen to body ratio and a pixel density of 457 with a resolution of 1170 by 2532. And that being said, there is already one lacking portion in this price tag with this device, which is a high refresh rate. Actually, there's a couple of things wrong with this device already, and I just got into the display. So, let me just kind of go over this. In terms of the display, the fact that it's an OLED, it's good, but HDR10 Plus for this price, yeah, I need that Plus. I want the certification. I don't give a shit what the excuse here is. You get the certification for $700 when you're selling this kind of garbage. So that's one. A peak brightness is on the lower end when again talking about the price and the fact that this is an OLED display. Screen to body ratio again on the low side and like pretty significantly noticeable lower side, I would say. And the only kind of good thing about this is the pixel density being at 457, so it is pretty dense. It is basically a 1080p display right here, but because it's a 6.1 inch, it is going to be super sharp. Now, if we flip it over now to the back, we have the single camera setup. Now, whatever Apple tells you, it's basically two cameras in one. Oh, with that idea, then this phone has quadruple camera setup because it has the same kind of sensor. Or at least in theory it does. The specific parameters going to be a little bit different, as this is a 48 megapixel f1.6 aperture, not even variable one, 26 millimeter wide lens. Now if we consider this actually has a, I believe, 50 megapixel wide sensor with aperture being about the same, if I remember correctly. So I guess I most certainly do have quadruple camera setup with this kind of idiotic logic, and a better one on top of that. Now, at the front we have a 12 megapixel f1.9 aperture wide sensor. Now if we take a look at the recording capability of the back camera, you're looking at a 4K up to 60 frames, which is pretty good, and 1080p also gets you 60, along with slow motion of 120. And the selfie one gets you, well, actually, the back one also gets you 240 frames per second of slow motion, and the back one caps at 120, or the front one caps at 120. The rear 4K, it's the same as the selfie one, so the only difference is the slow motion. So there we go. Now, moving on to the battery, it's unlisted, it's Apple, so the less information you have about how much you're spending on God knows what, the better, because you can be less salty about what you actually got. We also have 8 gigabytes of RAM and an Apple A18 processor in here. And contrary to what Apple kind of tries to tell you with their marketing for this device and their just general commercials for it, it's not the same as the non-E version of this device. The A18 is a lower end. It has cut down cores for, I think it was GPU cores, so it is going to be slower. It's not actually in this case an A18, not a 1-to-1 like it is on the higher end models of the 16 lineup. So this is more like a A18 Lite rather than just straight up Apple A18 processor, which again, it's just kind of scammy. It's being marketed as the same kind of capability of the A16 lineup, but it's not. And last thing is, which is probably going to be the most egregious one, is the god-awful notch right here on the display. So instead of adding you under display fingerprint sensor like most phones have, or for God's sakes putting a back mounted fingerprint sensor or even on a power button anywhere freaking else, Apple is still idiotically sticking with that god-awful Face ID, which at this point in 2025 just looks like a joke. So if I were to bring up my phone, you actually just take off the case so it's a little bit more kind of visible how insanely stupid the comparison here is for a device that is about the same price. So here we have a great comparison of what you actually could consider a great value for your money. Let me open up like something like settings and turn off the dark mode, so you can kind of see the bezels fully. So there we go. So you can see the bezels are much thinner. I don't have a disgusting notch, and it's just genuinely going to be a, I would say, more pleasant experience with something like this, considering this phone will be as fast as the A18 Lite processor, as well as having better camera setup, more RAM, more storage, and just generally being more friendly for the user, along with having more options, and honestly, to this one, probably also more versatility. So yeah, this phone, honestly, I wouldn't recommend anyone getting. It is insanely overpriced for what it offers, and the fact that it even comes with a 60 hertz display is just like a middle finger from Apple. This is genuinely, for this price tag, unacceptable. Phones at $200, or hell, phones at $100 even have a high refresh rate displays. There is not a single effing reason why this phone does not have it. So that's just kind of where I'm coming from right here, and I just genuinely recommend looking at anything else, literally anything else. Just pick any phone, any brand, and it might be probably better than this at this price range. And also, if you're not like in the Apple ecosystem, go with something maybe like Samsung. This is my pickup, recent one. It's been working fantastically. I am super satisfied with it. Cameras are great, and the price is great. Size is the same, as you can see, with just much smaller bezels, so it feels a little bit more modern, I would say, than this. This looks like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old device at this point, to be honest, and it just got released. So if you are stuck though in the Apple ecosystem and you already got like a bunch of things, so it would benefit you to go with this, then I just recommend saving up and getting the normal 16 iPhone instead of the 16e. And let me quickly check something. I do want to make sure about one crucial thing. I surely hope. Okay, never mind. Even the 16 model doesn't even come with a high refresh rate. So you know what, at this point it doesn't really matter. One more thing that I also realized right now, which I didn't mention, is one of the Apple features that you might be used to. So typically all iPhones since like, what is it, iPhone 12 though I don't exactly remember, have been coming with MagSafe. So you can just slap it to like a MagSafe charger. It's gonna magnetically attach to it and you're good to go. Yeah, no, there's no MagSafe right here. It does support wireless charging from what I can remember, but it doesn't come with a MagSafe. So for you to be able to utilize any kind of MagSafe accessories that Apple sells, you also need to buy a case which comes with a built-in MagSafe, which would be something like, let me just bring this out, like this. So this little ring. Typically that's built into the device on iPhones, but yeah, for this one you will need something like I have, which is a separate case that just has that little iron ring right here that will magnetically attach to MagSafe accessories, because the phone doesn't come with it. And another thing is, it's using its own like new tech for connectivities like 5G and all that stuff. So it's the first iPhone with this, and because of that, I would recommend, if you hellbent on getting this though, I would recommend giving it a little bit of time just so we can see other people's reviews, specifically on the connectivity and the stability of that connection for different kind of cellular connections, as it's going to be using something completely different, proprietary for Apple, that they invested into. So it's their own first one, and first one with this chip, and that is going to be handling all that. So I would recommend checking it out if it works even good, as usually first generation anything isn't always reliable, and if you rely on connectivity a lot, and it's a phone, so you probably do, it might be a very important portion for you. But anyway, that's all I got for you. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks.